This is Module A2, and the first half of this module comes from Chapter 25 of the textbook, Metabolism and Energetics. The chapter on metabolism is rather lengthy. You really need to focus on the material presented in this video lecture and not so much on all the details presented in the textbook. The book would be a good reference if you're having difficulty, but please focus on the details that I present here. The cell uses organic substrates that we obtain from our diet, and it utilizes those molecules in the production of energy. And of course, that energy acquisition takes place in the mitochondrion, the cellular organelle. Just to review the various macromolecules of life, we have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins being the most abundant macromolecule in the body, and then lastly nucleic acids. And again, I always urge students to remember that these first three are the ones often we're often concerned about these as we look at various product labels. We're always looking at the carbs, the fat content, and the protein. And again, this energy acquisition takes place in the mitochondrion. If we look at the requirements of metabolism, all you really need to think about are the requirements of life itself. We need a source of oxygen, and we get atmospheric oxygen brought into the body through the lungs. We need a source of water and a source of nutrients, and those nutrients include certain minerals, vitamins, and again, those organic substrates. The word substrate, I don't want that to throw you. This is referring to those four macromolecules of life that we've talked about previously. In Objective 1, we're going to look at the definition of metabolism and some examples of the two types of metabolic reactions. We have catabolism and anabolism. Metabolism refers to all the chemical reactions that take place in the body at the cellular level. And again, the energy that is gained from metabolic activity is shunted to maintain homeostasis, as well as all the essential functions that the cell requires. And again, we'll review some of these functions here in a minute. Catabolism is the breakdown. And I always remember that if I always remember that the term catastrophe, this would be a destruction or breakdown. And again, catabolism is the breakdown of organic substrates. And in that breakdown, we actually release a tremendous amount of energy. And we store that energy in the form of ATP. Just to kind of give you a quick idea of where that energy is coming from, if you were to remember the chemistry, the bond between atoms in organic molecules is a covalent bond. And this is a very energetic bond. And when this bond is broken, we get a tremendous amount of energy. And this energy is used or stored in ATP molecules. ADP, adenosine diphosphate, di for 2, plus an inorganic phosphate yields ATP. We just simply add another phosphate to the end of that ADP molecule to get the ATP. And it's just a means of storing the energy that was obtained from these covalent bonds as our body metabolizes organic substrates. Anabolism is the synthesis or the building of new organic molecules. And I always remember anabolic steroids. Obviously, individuals who take anabolic steroids do so to bulk up, to build up their bodies. So this is the building or the synthesis of new organic molecules. Some of the essential functions that the cell utilizes metabolism for include metabolic turnover. Many cellular components, such as various organelles, need to be replaced over time. So metabolic activities help to replace those components. During cell division and anytime a cell growth, the energy and the substrates that are required for that come out of metabolic activities. And then if you think of all the special processes such as secretion and muscular contraction, or the propagation of a nerve impulse or action potential, is just other examples of the essential functions that the cell needs to carry out. And again, the focus of this chapter is to talk about the energy and the organic substrates that are needed for these essential functions. The cell has a nutrient pool, and it's basically found within the cytoplasm of the cell, and it's a pool of all the organic building blocks that the cell would need. So, for instance, monosaccharides are required, amino acids, various lipids are found within the organic pool, as well as nucleotides. And the nutrient pool is there to provide energy, as well as the building blocks in the creation of new cellular components, such as organelles. If we were to look at an overview of metabolism, this is figure 25.1, and again here we identify the cell pool, or the nutrient pool rather, and this is located inside the cell because here we see the cell membrane with the cytoplasm inside the cell and the interstitial fluid on the outside. So the nutrient pool is used for anabolic reactions and the production of new organic molecules needed for repair, growth, secretion, or if we're going to store any of these organic molecules. And then when needed, those same end products can be catabolized, can undergo catabolism in order to return these substrates to the nutrient pool. And ultimately, those substrates can then be shunted to the mitochondrion, where the production of ATP can occur. If we look at the actual energy, 60% of the energy within those organic substrates is lost as heat, and 40% would be picked up and transferred into molecules of ATP. And then, of course, that ATP can be utilized by the cell for a huge range of functions. In terms of energy, anabolism is an uphill process. Energy is required for anabolic reactions, and catabolism is a downhill process. As those covalent bonds are broken, that energy is then harvested and it's stored in the form of ATP. Again, functions of these organic compounds, they're used to perform structural maintenance and repairs. They support a tremendous amount of cellular growth. The production of secretions, the stored nutrient reserves. There's a huge number of activities or functions of these organic compounds. And those organic compounds come in three forms. Our body stores carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. Glycogen is just a polysaccharide. It's a whole bunch of glucose molecules linked together. And that's how the body stores carbohydrates. Triglycerides are stored in adipocytes. Triglyceride, again, is a glycerol molecule that is attached to 3 fatty acids. And triglyceride is the most abundant storage form of lipid. And then lastly, proteins. Proteins are the most abundant organic molecule in the body, and proteins are utilized tremendously, and there are thousands and thousands of different types of proteins that all play a specific function. This is figure 25.2, nutrient use and cellular metabolism. These triglycerides, glycogen, and proteins, and remember these are how the body stores the macromolecules, are then broken down into their monomers. Proteins are broken down into amino acids, glycogen is broken down into glucose, and triglycerides are broken down into fatty acids. And it's these substrates that enter the nutrient pool, and they can, with some modification, enter into the mitochondrion and then go through cellular metabolism, cellular respiration, and for mainly the production of ATP. I'll also note now that two byproducts of cellular respiration, and we haven't really introduced cellular respiration, we'll do so in the next couple objectives, but I need to use that term now. The two byproducts would be CO2, which then is shunted to the lungs via the cardiovascular system, and water.